There's many drugs out there. I started off with PCP. That's embalming fluid mixed with other chemicals, and you dip it on a cigarette. The high is kind of like acid. You see things, and if you're not strong-minded, the trips that you see, you may not come back from it. And
Makes you hallucinate.
hallucinate,
Okay.
yes. And then there was crystal meth, and there's different ways to do it. You can snort it, you can smoke it, or in a glass pipe. You can smoke it on foil, or you can inject it. You can even drink it. Yeah.
With water?
Yeah, with water. Wrap it in toilet paper and stick it in your mouth and chase it with
Does it give
coke.
you different type of high if you take it in different way?
Yes.
Okay.
Smoking is more mellow. You can eat off of it. I went from fixing it to smoking just so that I could eat, because I would lose weight so fast and you could tell I was on it because I wouldn't eat. And with smoking, you do more, but you're able to eat while you're on it. Snorting it, I couldn't do it because I didn't like the drain. When you did it, it would drain down into your throat, and it was a very nasty taste. It would make me gag, so I didn't stay on that very long either. But the highs are different. Each one, the fixing is the most powerful one. It lasts you for more days. Back then, in the 80s, 7 to 90, dope wasn't the same as it is now. Back then, you can do a dime and it lasts you all days, maybe until the next day. Nowadays, you can't do a diamond. You have to do more and more and more because it's mixed with so much junk in it.
Diluted.
Yeah. Chemicals, it's all chemicals. Chemicals that ruin your body, ruin your liver, ruin your kidneys. I'm diabetic. Before I went and got clean this last time, my A1C was at a 13. My kidneys were getting affected to the point that it looked like they were maybe to the point of almost shutting down. And then there was heroin. Heroin made you feel on top of the world, to me at least, because it controlled my anger. I would get in fights out there because I was from Colton, not San Bernardino, and I would have to watch. And like my uncle said, never worry about the person coming from behind you, just get the one that's coming straight at you. And I took my eyes off of the one coming straight at me because somebody was coming up from behind me, and I didn't want her to grab me while this other person coming up from front of me. So when I turned, I got hit, and not to where they knocked me out, but to where I caught myself with my hands, but I got back up, and after she hit me, she walked away. And it was like my temper hit from 0 to 100. And it was like, no, we ain't done, And I followed her to her house. Yeah.
Then what happened?
She went inside and locked the door, and I couldn't get in because I tried. There was one time I did enter somebody's house, not knowing that I could have been arrested. That's how bad my temper was. I would do foolish things, not thinking. And then being on drugs, you don't think. You just react.
That enhanced your temper?
No, heroin actually controlled it.
Oh, okay.
It controlled it. That's why I fell in love with it, is because I didn't get angry. When she gave me something that I thought was just crystal because I didn't know the terms, and I start going like this, and I asked her, what the fuck you give me? And she explains to me. I started realizing I'm not mad right now. I'm not going off on her right now. Wow, this is great, I'm not angry.
So heroin was one of your favorites?
Heroin was my favorite.
Okay.
That was my number one drug.
What about crack?
Crack, it makes you want more. Like I said, you mix it with baking soda and a torch, and you have cold water with ice, and you flame it, shake it, put it in the ice so it can rock up, shake it again, flame it, shake it again. You can even make it with ammonia. 6 drops of ammonia on a toothpick, put the coke in there and stir it around, and it gathers like cotton candy on it. And both of those highs are different. Both of those highs are different. but they both make you start wigging out the windows, start looking for things on the ground. You're tasting stuff to see, is this a little piece, because you want more. Your brain's telling you to get more. Get more. All of it makes you want to get more. If you're an addict like me.
All the drugs makes you want to get more, right?
Yes.
More and more.
Especially if you're an addict that can't stop. Because there are some addicts that can do it on the weekend and then go to work on Monday and not touch it the rest of the week. You know?
That's cocaine, right?
That's with anything. I know people that can do crystal and put it away. Do it just on the weekend, put it away, and be fine for work. I'm not that kind of addict. I'm what they call the true addict, the dysfunctional addict, the one that cannot stop no matter what, no matter how much I want to stop. I cannot. And even though alcohol and weed is not my thing, I know this time around, I can't even have a drink of beer because it'll set my mind off to want the heroin, want the crystal, want the PCP, the mushrooms, everything I've done. You know, it's gonna trigger.
Once you have that head change.
Yeah.
Right?
Once I get one in me, and it's non-stoppable from that point on. And
I'm sure you did cocaine as well.
no, I only did rock. I never. The only kind I did a belushi. That's a lie. Belushi is heroin mixed with cocaine, and it's in
A blue what?
A belushi.
A belushi?
Yeah,
Okay.
like the singers, the Blues Brothers.
Okay.
Like them, because that was his favorite high. He was a heroin addict that did coke and heroin.
If you have a drug named after you, great.
And you mix the coke in, and you don't even need that much, into your heroin. Depends on which one you want to feel more of, you know. And you go on the roller coaster ride, as I call it, because you go up and then you go down. Go up and you go down. The same thing with crystal. If I shot heroin first, then I would smoke a bowl, and I would do the same thing. I would have moments when I'm up and moments when I'm going back down. And I would do that all day long. Just because I like to go up and down. You know, it sounds crazy.
Well, go to Six Flags.
You know how much they cost? Drugs are actually cheaper to a point. To a point. I think Six Flags might be cheaper if you get the yearly pass.
I haven't been there for a minute, so I'm not sure. And plus, I have motion sickness, so I don't get on any rides.
Oh, no?
No,
Yeah,
I can't.
I love the roller coaster rides. I miss my Uncle Joe because he used to take me like on the hammer and stuff when I was little, and I used to like going around. PCP is just like acid. You trip on it, you get trips. Mushrooms. I really didn't feel
Can
nothing.
you see things with PCP? Like you actually almost
one
imaginary
time
things?
I was sitting there waiting for my sister to come back from my dad's side, to come back with a dime for us to do of heroin. And I'm sitting on her bed and I'm looking at my hands. They look this tiny. And I'm just tripping out on my hands because they look so small. Yeah. So you do see things. I've never seen the devil, you know. When I would get high with people, I would ask them, have you done this before? Because I didn't like to give anything to anybody who hadn't done it. Even if you were a heroin addict, when I sold, if you got clean and I knew it, I went outside of you. I had to know that you were actively using before I was the one that was going to get you started back on it. Towards the end, that all changed. Towards the end, I didn't care anymore.
Why?
I don't know if it had to do with my son dying or what, but I just didn't care about anything anymore.
Your son died when he was 27, so you were, how old were you?
I was in my 40s, I believe.
How long did, I don't think you ever get over that, but how long did it take for you to be able to live with it?
I'm barely dealing with it now. They opened it up at IVRS, and I found out that I couldn't come see her anymore. So it's like, it's open and it's not being dealt with right now. I have my first appointment with the therapist at the outpatient program that I go to on the 6th. So hopefully I can deal with that because I don't do good with death. Even my mom talking about death set me off into panic attacks for almost a week. Yeah.
Your panic attacks last a week?
Sometimes when it deals with death, yeah. I'm scared of death because I don't know what it's going to be like.
Wow.
My mind takes me there. My mind takes me as to, am I going to see you? Am I going to see my kids? Or am I going to see just black and nothing? Or am I going to not see anything, not hear anything? My mind takes me there, to really overanalyzing to the point where I scare myself shitless. Or am I going to be on fire because I'm not following God's will for my life? Am I going to be, like it says, burning to where you can't even get a drop of water to cool yourself off? That you're going to be in the flames and your body's going to be burning, And I take it there. I take it there really bad to the point where I won't even want to be in my room by myself if I start thinking about it too much. I'll leave my light on. I'll start to have panic attacks. I'll go and get Arlie and I'd ask her, or I would call my sponsor and I'd tell her I'm having a panic attack. You need to talk to me, And she'll do breathing treatments with me, deep breathing, tell me to feel my knee, that I'm in a safe place, can you feel the air? And if I'm outside, she'll tell me, can you feel the air, the breeze? Tell yourself you're sitting in the chair, that you're okay. Deep breath in, hold it for 4 seconds, breathe out. Tell yourself you can put your hand on your knee, you're right here sitting down, just to get me out of them. Yeah, I get them pretty bad. Which is strange because in my addiction, I wasn't getting them maybe once every few years. Now I've had them quite a few times in just these last couple of weeks, I think the last 3 weeks I've had about 5 to 6 of them. That's not normal for me. Usually I go years without having just one, and now they're coming more often.
What do you think that?
My mom talking about that she was probably going to die soon because of her stomach. Not wanting to hear that. Yeah. And then I get home and the roommate's talking about the end times. I'm like, oh my God, not another one. Yeah, that I went in my room, I was okay. I sat down, all of a sudden I started feeling like I can't breathe. That I can't breathe, and I have to get up real fast. I open my window, I have to turn the fan on, try to get that fan to hit me in the face, and I'm still like, I'm gonna die. I feel like I'm gonna die. I have to get out of here. I have to get out of here. One time it happened in the car, and I couldn't jump out of the car because we were on the freeway. So I had to call my sponsor. I think the reason I never got it before was because I wouldn't get a sponsor. I wouldn't do the NA meetings. My last time I was clean, I was only doing church. I think if I would have been doing both like I'm doing now, I would have had somebody to talk to. My sponsor could have helped me through the death of my son. But I didn't rely on NA at all. And I've known about it since I very started the first time I went to program. They teach you it. So I've always known about it. I've had a sponsor before. I've even sponsored somebody before. But it just wasn't for me to have a sponsor. When I sponsored somebody, I could do it because I'd seen what they did. I knew what to do, guide her through the steps and stuff. But how can I really keep her clean if I wasn't doing that myself?
That's true.
So, and she even asked me, it was a friend of mine, her name was Barbara. She'd asked me, how can you give me all this good advice, but you can't take your own advice? I said, because it's easier to give advice than to accept it. Even though I know what I should be doing. So this time around, I have a sponsor. I have women's numbers. I go to meetings all week long, and I try to bring my roommates with me. One of my roommates moving out today, and it's a shame. The new girl, she's in another room, but she's been coming to the meetings with me. And I stay focused. I keep my. I'm doing this. I'm on step one. I got tonight. I do the last part of step one, the spiritual principles. I had to write 14 days of what principle did I do under surrendering, willingness, or honesty. And if I didn't do it, why didn't I do it? And if I missed a day, I had to start back over to one. I missed a couple of times, so I had to start back over to one. So today is my last day of having to do it if I don't miss tonight.
You won't.
I hope not, because last time, my roommate that was just left, she had relapsed, and she's calling me. And I had all my papers right there on the bed, ready to do it. The phone call comes in, my medicine kicks in, and I was out. And I thought I did it when I was out. I think, oh, shit, I gotta start over.
If you could go back in time, have a chat with your 14-year-old self, what would you say to her?
I would say to be obedient, not to listen to other people that whisper in your ear that they have such a good life of not having responsibilities and being able to go, from their house and walk the streets and party all the time. And I had structure at my house. My mom always had structure with us. And my friend, she had painted such a pretty picture that I was curious. And I wanted to see what my sisters also went through because they were all partying too, I wanted to know what it was like. But I would tell myself, no,
Don't do it.
don't do it. Listen to your mom.
Even though I'm sure the first time you did it, you were on a high and you enjoyed it while you were in that moment.
Yeah.
Right. Did you feel any type of regret right after that when the high came down the first time?
No.
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 You were just in cloud nine.
In cloud nine, wanting more.
Okay. And now move forward to when now you're full on addict.
Yeah.
You had to sell yourself to make some income.
Yes.
And what would you say to that version of yourself?
That version of myself, I would have listened to my best friend Queenie, and I would have never done it. Because it's very, very disrespectful. You lose your morals, you lose your self-respect.
Your integrity.
And it makes you feel worthless. You feel, oh my God, it's just like, now you want to get high. Now you want to really get high. I was throwing up after I did it. I was throwing up. I was shaky. You start thinking, man, I could have got killed. I didn't know this person. What if he had hurt me? What if he was a rapist? All these thoughts start going through your mind. And I was sober when I did it. That was the biggest mistake I ever did.
Did you just go to the street and wave somebody down, or?
I was walking in San Bernardino, and like I said, in San Bernardino on certain streets, they pull up to you and they ask you, and I jumped in a cart. Yeah.
That was it?
That was it.
Okay. And then what would you say to your 30-year-old self many years later, which is about 15 years now?
My 30-year-old self was, I really wrecked my life. It wasn't fun, none of it.
But you still didn't get clean?
But I still couldn't get clean, no. Because I would not take the simple program that is offered in Narcotics Anonymous, which is doing the 12 steps, doing the 12 traditions, getting yourself a sponsor, getting phone numbers from women, not men. Women stick with women, men stick with men. Your sponsor, it should be a woman, not a man, because there's certain things in your life that you're not going to want to share with a male. Like right now, me prostituting. I'm open with it now because, like I said, I brainwashed myself to think that I was doing no wrong because I was supporting myself. I wasn't asking my family for any money. Every money I got for my drugs, I did it either selling myself or selling drugs. So
So those are the words you would say to yourself, say to your 30-year-old self.
My 30-year-old self, that it wasn't worth it. It wasn't worth the humiliation, the disrespect, the feeling in my gut that I could have got killed. And there was a few times that I had bad situations where I got raped out there at knife point. Another time I barely got away. You know, there was a few incidents that my life was really in danger. And you don't think about this at that time. And I look back, God really had his hand on me. There's so many times that I should have been dead. I've had guns put in my face and the trigger pulled, and somebody see that it was fully loaded with one in the chamber. It just didn't go off. You know, had an AK-47 assault rifle pulled out on me with my daughter in my hands and my other daughter on the couch.
For what reason?
Because the guy was on a sick one. He was high off of crystal, and he thought my daughter was calling the cops because she wouldn't listen to me and she went next door. Yeah. Those are the things you have to look forward to when you're on drugs, is you don't know what state of mind people are in. You don't know what their mind's telling them.
What would you tell yourself?
I would tell myself not to do it. Learn. Don't ever pick it up again.
It's never too late, right?
Yeah, it's never too late. I'm 58 years old, and God's given me another chance. Not everybody makes it back, especially now with fentanyl. That drug scares me. I overdosed 4 times in a week and a half, where they had to give me Narcan, and I wasn't coming out of it. I remember when it first got put in my heroin without me knowing, I had just did 5 cc's, the same amount I always do, and not knowing that it had fentanyl in it and I muscled it. I didn't mainline it, I muscled it.
What does that mean?
You just, like skin popping it.
Okay.
You just shoot it in the muscle. And I was getting ready to hit my old man in his neck. And that's all I remember. Next thing I remember is my daughter telling me, Mom, I'm going to wet you. You need to walk to the front. The paramedics is here. I'm not seeing anything. I'm just hearing her. She's guiding me. Finally, I guess I wake up a little bit and the paramedic is telling me that I need to go in. And I'm telling him no because I don't want to get arrested. And he goes, you're not going to be arrested. And I keep arguing with him because you're not coming out of it. Your life is in danger. We have already did you the much Narcan as they can give me. And you're not coming out of it. And finally he told me, if you don't go, I'm going to call the cops and you will be arrested. I said, okay, I'll go with you. But if he would have never told me that, I would have never went. And my life was seriously in danger. When I came out of the hospital, I still wasn't out of it. And I did it, it was maybe like 10 o'clock in the morning. When I got home, it was nighttime. I would say maybe like 8 o'clock at night. And I am still trying to fight it. So.
When was that?
That would have been in 2015 or 16.
But that didn't stop you either.
That didn't stop me. Even with the overdoses that I had, that I came out of with the fentanyl, that didn't stop me.
So what stopped you was, like you said, that you didn't want to be one of those older ladies that, wheelchair and shooting.
I didn't want to be in a wheelchair shooting up. And I kept praying to God, please let me stop before I'm 60.
So your own willpower helped you get clean.
Yeah.
Why didn't that happen earlier?
I guess I wasn't ready. I guess there was much I needed to still learn. I needed to learn to trust people, that people can really want to help you to stay clean, because I had a lot of trust issues with women. So I didn't want to trust the women in the rooms of Narcotics Anonymous. I didn't want to trust them. Today
Even though they were put in place to help you.
Yes.
And earlier you did mention your inability to share when you were younger.
Yeah.
Sort of, I guess, delayed your sobriety.
Yeah.
Right? So if you could go back and if you were able to share, you think you would be able to be clean earlier?
I think if I would have followed the steps that they have, which is getting a sponsor, doing the 12 steps and 12 traditions, actively going to meetings, 90 meetings in 90 days, and continue that and not slack off, I think, yes, I would have made it. But I didn't want to accept it's a simple program, very simple. We make it harder, you know. And
Because you fight it.
we fight it.
Yeah.
Exactly. We don't want to trust. Out there, we've been hurt so much, not only by ourselves, the harm we cause ourselves, but by other people, that we get walls built up, and those walls need to come down. And it's like peeling an onion. You know, I am never gonna stop doing the 12 steps and traditions until the day I die, because each time I do them, there's something else that's going to come up in my fourth step. There's something else I'm going to learn about me that I need to work through.
That's good to know.
Yeah.